With Dr. Charles E. Owubah, Chief Executive Officer of the non-profit organization Action Against Hunger. Charles, thank you so much for being with us. As I understand it, some of Action Against Hunger's funding does come from private donors, but a good proportion does come from the US government. And given the turmoil at USAID, you're now looking at a shortfall of about $120 million. That's pretty much 30% of your revenues. Just explain to us what the turmoil and the lack of certainty at USAID has meant for your life-saving operations in places like Haiti and Ethiopia, which this program has actually covered extensively, the crisis there. Walk us through that.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to share how things are going in the field and how many of our vulnerable people are actually feeling. You're right. I think about 120 million of our programs, we've lost that funding. And then here we're talking about 50 programs that have been affected. But I think what we're also seeing on the ground is that for most of those places where we work in, we are the only individuals or organizations that go there to be able to help the people. So for us not to have that certainty that the funding will come through, we are seeing struggles all over the field. And that's the issue that we're seeing today. In most cases, we have mothers who cannot have access to the food that they need. We have extremely malnourished children who cannot have the treatment that they need. And the fear is that if the uncertainty continues, then many of these people will actually die.
Wow, I mean, you really put it in stark terms there. I'm wondering, we're just 2 weeks into this executive order. A federal judge has put a freeze on it, but have there already been real-life implications and reverberations from the work you've seen and do?
Yes, there have been. And so in places like Haiti is just one of the poorest countries in the Western Hemisphere, where funding has actually been stopped. And there, the work that we do is about saving lives of those poor Haitians. And so what we've done in the past, and we hope we can continue to do, but we're not able to do so today because of the cut in funding. Apart from feeding them, we also support them in having resilient, crops so that hunger does not even take place in the first place. So now that we are not able to be able to do that kind of work in Haiti, we have significant challenges on the ground. And so without that support, life is really, really difficult for many of these people that we work with.
Charles, we were listening to a press conference with Marco Rubio last week, and he was saying, he was obviously asked many questions about USAID, and one of the answers he gave was that if any charity or any organization is performing life-saving work abroad, that they could apply for waivers that would allow life-saving assistance to continue. I mean, a lot of people have said, who run charities like yourself, that they've tried to apply for these waivers and it hasn't amounted to much. Just walk us through what attempts you have made to try to get these waivers and what has been the result of those attempts.
We have made those attempts and we have received, some of the waivers. So that is true. However, the funding has not followed through. And that's where the issue is. If you put it into perspective, there are two parts to this issue. There's the uncertainty that we are facing within the first 90 days, and then what is going to happen after the 90 days. Uncertainty. And for a lot of the work that we do, we need that certainty to make sure we can plan ahead and be able to help people. So yes, they have been waivers, all right, but we have challenges getting the funding. Additionally, while we have the waivers, there are certain parts of those programs that we just cannot do. To be able to do a life-saving program, there are other parts of the work that we need to be able to do to make sure that it is effective. So yes, having those life-saving programs are good, but other things must be done to ensure that those things take place. An analogy I'll give you in a typical airplane, if you take the wings of the airplane off, it cannot fly. So yeah, the body is there, all right. What do? Do we push it? No, it's very difficult. Until the wings are there, it is very difficult to be able to execute many of these life-saving programs that we're talking
Well, Charles, I've known you for a while. I've obviously done some work with Action Against Hunger. You know, I am so proud of the life-saving work that your organization has done across the world. And despite the difficult situation with USAID, thank you on behalf of the millions of lives, especially in Africa, where you have done really remarkable work. And I hope that despite the disruption, your work is able to continue. Charles Owubah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Please keep us posted as well.
Thank you.
Well, still to come for us.